Good evening and welcome to another video podcast from NB Consulting, the specialist management consulting firm for the $125 billion FPD display market. And today I'd like to comment on an article which was our number 9 article published in Information Display. And one of my joys is talking about underdog or unknown stories on pieces of technology in the display industry. In this particular one, I picked up on a thread about different competing color management solutions in displays. And I think the quantum dot industry has done actually a very good job of explaining to the world the role of its quantum dots in color down conversion of blue light to red and green. And I think that's now a function that's well understood. I think people understand that there are electroluminescent embodiments of the same materials, and in general I think there's a genuine understanding of the role of quantum dots also in QD OLED, so its role in the display industry. I think what is less well known is the size and role of narrowband phosphors also as a color management material in the display industry. And so I took on this piece of work really just to a little bit address some of that balance and talk about the competing two material systems and the role in general within, which is what I consider to be always the biggest theme, which is the way I've always put it is all things bright and beautiful, which is high color gamut and wide color gamut and high dynamic range. Those are the 10-year story of the display industry. If you look at mini LED development, micro LED development, OLED development, all of these things are of one or another a wide color gamut or high dynamic range. So anyway, this piece was written with some friends now at GE and talk about the role of narrowband phosphors also as a color management solution. Now their specific material is a red KFS material, and what's fascinating, of course, is with these things, you can actually walk up to displays in showrooms and actually point a spectrometer at them, and you know there and then whether or not they have which type of material in them. But anyway, the general piece, the thesis of this piece here was really just to do a little bit of market analysis and compare a little bit the market sizing and addressable market of QD against narrowband phosphors. And the end result, after quite some work, are shown in these little graphs here below, and I think if you want to download the paper, it's probably really interesting. What I'm trying to do is look at all of the different competing wide color gamut technologies by each segment in the display market. And then this one here that is a little bit above my face to the right here is a view on addressable market, and basically you can say that the narrowband phosphor market is about double the quantum dot addressable market at this point in time. And I think that's a fair representation. I've been looking at these numbers quite a number of times, and actually this round I'd like to explain a little bit of the background. The major change in my assumptions was the forward-looking view on QD OLED. So the reality is that while in previous versions of these numbers that I have published and spoken about in conferences, I had in the mind that SDC would move to 90k sheets of QD OLED, meaning a multi-million dollar, I think I assumed 7 million units of QD OLED over time would be produced. And actually now I hear that Omdia and others have cut their capacity forecasts for QD OLED and SDC back quite a long way, so then a more reasonable number is probably in the 2.5 to 3 million units range. And so that's really what changes compared to numbers that I've previously posted on my LinkedIn profile, the balance here between narrowband phosphor and QDs. What is then interesting is to talk about the journey that GE have been on about basically particle size reduction to addressing mini LED, and indeed now as being a color management solution for micro LED as well. So it's not just quantum dots that can be used in that manner. And what I think was really interesting is this blue graph at the bottom right, which is then describing the behavior of the competitive areas. And basically this just in small thin films, what you can argue is that quantum dots have simply better absorbance, and so in very thin films the quantum dots dominate. But what you tend to find is above a certain film thickness, then the performance of the narrowband phosphors is simply better. And the question, of course, is who's improving and who's improving faster, and where is the trade-off point, and what does that mean for choices for different designers when they think about a color management solution. Anyway, that's what I found interesting out of this, that actually both industries are moving forward. I'm sure everyone understands that. And this just positions that there are multiple solutions for colour management, and narrowband phosphors is one solution and quantum dots is another. Now, actually, just to put this in line with other things that have been said, Jason Hartlove actually got up at the conference that I spoke at about 9 months ago and actually put this slide up himself, where he basically, as you can see, this one now is done on an area basis, so it's not addressable value, it's based on area, but it basically says also that narrowband phosphor is distinctly ahead of quantum dot here on an area basis. So I think the factual information lines up together, and all people should do is see this as being pluralism in colour management solutions. And that was really my pitch at the conference when I last gave one at the OLED and QD Summit, is that colour management within the display industry is pluralistic. There are, in fact, quite a number of cases now of the phosphor industry and the QD industry being used by clients together. They're not necessarily collaborating, but the people making colour management choices are choosing to use them together. And I think that's a really interesting ongoing trend. So almost in a way, you could say the colour conversion technologies here then are competing with the direct emissives, the OLEDs and the micro LEDs themselves. And that's possibly another angle to look at this overall problem. Anyway, that was my number 9th article. I mean, a part of my business is representing key technologies and trying to uncover stories that I think should be better known. I think that's my overall fascination in life, is things that are either breakthrough innovations or things that the industry should know more about than it does. And certainly this for me was, it provides more depth around, there is a role of blue and green narrowband phosphors from different companies in being used as active colour management solutions. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting.